All right, guys, I'm sorry we had to do that. That's okay. I think by now you guys are pretty good at navigating the computer, but I wanted to end with a story. I have the book called Betty Lou Blue. Betty Lou Blue had the world's biggest feet, whackety thwackety flappity feet. The other kids laughed when she wappeted by. If those feet were wings, they would yell, they could fly. If those shoes were boats, you could float for a year. But whackety flap, she'd pretend not to hear. Her mamma would rock her and say, Betty Lou, why, everyone's perfect, dear. Yes, even you. There's no one just like you. You're special, you see. And each living thing has a reason to be. So Betty Lou smiled and tried to be strong, but she knew in her heart that her mamma was wrong. Then, the first day of winter, it started to snow. Up came the wind, and it started to blow. All morning long, the snow fell and it blew till the roads were all covered and hidden from view. The principal let kids out early that day and said, You go home, don't you dare stop to play. But outside, the kids found a glorious sight. The park was a wonderland, sparkling white. They all built a snowman and sledded and slid, and some dared the others to do what they did. But none of them noticed the tree by the street had seemingly sprouted two very large feet. Betty Lou Blue was behind the tree, hiding and watching the building and sledding and sliding, and wanting so badly to join in and play, but she knew they'd just laugh and then shoo her away. Or join Jimmy Jack and his joke of the week, shouting, Look, everybody, it's Footy Lou Freak. So, just like in our lesson last week, these kids are not saying nice words. So she watched the kids frolic and stayed out of sight and held back a gasp when they started to fight. One little snowball was all that it took. Well, that and a shove and a menacing look. It quickly turned into an all out attack, with girls hitting boys and boys fighting back. They wrangled and rolled and they wrestled until Betty Lou stepped out and yelled, There's a hill! Look out! And they did, but a second too late. The snow started shifting beneath all the weight. They slid and they tumbled and fell in a heap, then couldn't get up because the snow was too deep. Oh no. Frightened and frozen, they hadn't a clue as to what could be done till they saw Betty Lou. The kids who had teased her now shouted out, Please help us out of the snow. See, it's way past our knees. And Betty Lou stood there and studied the scene while she thought about those who had fun being mean. What do you think she's going to do? These are the kids that are mean to her. Do you think she's going to help them? Name callers, bullies, the boy Jimmy Jack. Now here was her chance to pay them all back. And all it would take was her walking away, though Betty Lou knew what her mama would say. Remember in our lesson we talked about last week that the boy in the story could have called the girl Layla a name back, but that would make a bigger problem, wouldn't it? So let's see what Betty Lou does. Dear, everything's ugly. That's done out of spite, but you can be beautiful doing what's right. 'Cause what makes you special, what sets you apart, is not on the outside. It's what's in your heart. She looked the crowd over and stopped eye to eye with Jimmy Jack Jones, who had started to cry. And a thought came to her that was ever so grim. Why, if I walk away, I'm as ugly as him. Now, she's not talking about him being ugly, his being look like he looks ugly. She's talking about his heart and his actions. He was not being kind to her, And if she walks away and leaves him stuck in the snow, she will not be using her kind heart. So she made herself smile and she lifted her chin and said, "Hey, come on, guys, it's time to go in." So she's choosing to help them. She's being kind. She knew what to do. It was really a cinch. On top of the snow, without sinking an inch, she stood each kid up on the world's biggest feet and walked each one out to the newly plowed street. They hugged her and cheered, but the best part was when all of them asked her to be their best friend. So, because she was kind, it caused them to have a change of heart as well. And now they are being kind, and it caused her to gain a lot of new friends. Then she flapped it home in the darkening night and burst in yelling, "Mama, guess what? You were right." All right. So I hope that you use all the strategies that you have used in Second Step this last several months and use them to be kind, to have good listening, to problem solve, just like Betty Lou. She had to stop and think about what the consequences would be if she left the kids. She had to think about what the consequences would be if she helped them. And she chose to do the right thing. And I hope that you do too. So I will see you next week for another SEL lesson. It will just look a little bit different. Have a great week, everybody.